Welcome to Searching for History. I'm Erin. This is Rollin.
Hello.
And Thora's in the back. I can't find her. She's right there.
On this episode, we're going to go look at a pioneer cabin that was built by John and Matilda Jackson in 1848. This cabin is quite unique because it was also used as a courthouse. It's the first courthouse that still exists that was built in what would become Washington State. And the first court case was tried there in Washington Territory. Another little interesting fact about this cabin is prior to the Civil War generals were out here, and this is before they were generals, but it was visited by Ulysses S. Grant, George McClellan, and Philip Sheridan. It's kind of cool to think officers from the Civil War were out here prior to the war inspecting the United States' newly gained territory. John Jackson built a cabin here in 1845, making him one of the first Euro-American settlers to settle north of the Columbia River. And at that time, Washington was still part of Oregon Territory. In 1848, John Jackson married Matilda Kuntz, and then in 1850, they built this larger cabin you see here today. One thing that's interesting about this cabin is it was used as a courthouse, and it's where the first court case was held in Washington Territory. In addition to operating his farm, Jackson took on many roles in developing the region. He served as sheriff, census taker, and probate judge, and he was a member of the first territorial legislature. Jackson also served on the Cowlitz and Monticello conventions, which led to the creation of Washington Territory in 1853. So this highway out here that runs by the site is called the Jackson Highway, and I never knew why until now. As traffic through the area increased and the size of the family grew, the Jacksons added several new rooms to their small home. When the cabin was reconstructed in 1915, they were not retained. And then there's a diagram here that shows what the Jackson homestead would have looked like in the mid-1850s. The Jackson homestead was strategically located along the Cowlitz Trail, which was a northern spur of the Oregon Trail. And so it actually came from the Cowlitz Landing and went all the way to Tumwater. So as you see here, you have the Columbia River. So Fort Vancouver is down this way. You have Monticello, which now is called Longview. And then up the Cowlitz River to Cowlitz Landing. And then from there overland to the Jackson House, where we are. Ford House. That's Ford's Prairie, that's Centralia, and then New Market, which is on Budd Inlet in Puget Sound, and today that's called Tumwater. In 1915, the Jackson House was torn down and rebuilt using salvageable materials. It was one of the first historic preservation projects in Washington State. The cabin had fallen into disrepair in the years following Jackson's death in 1873. This was placed on the National Register of Historic Places in 1974. Oh look, there's a sharpening stone. It's like a fireplace, but it's hard to tell. It looks like it's mostly empty in there. Maybe we'll see a little bit better through these windows. If they had a light on in there, that would help. Can't really see in there. So what do you think about the Jackson house?
I love that it's a real fixture in the landscape in the sense that there's the highway that's named after it, but also how it was the first spot where people were deciding court cases.
Yeah, it's pretty cool that this is a territorial courthouse. That was our episode on the Jackson house. I hope you enjoyed it.
Don't forget to like, share, comment on this video, and please subscribe to Searching for History.
Thanks for watching.